Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 7. In this chapter, we will talking about Islamic bank.
Okay, class, here I want to explain about understanding and studying history of Islamic bank. As we know, Sharia banking first appeared in Egypt, and it appeared without using Islamic appendix because there were concerns that the regime at the time would see it as a fundamentalist movement. The leader of this pioneering business is Ahmad al-Najjar, took the form of a savings bank based on profit sharing. This experiment lasted until 1967, and at the time, 9 banks with a similar concept were established in Egypt. These banks, which neither charge nor receive interest, mostly invest in trade and industrial business, directly in the form of partnership and share the profits with savers. Still in the same country, in 1971, Nasir Social Bank was founded and declared itself an interest-free commercial bank, although the deed of establishment doesn't mention any reference to religion or Islamic law. The Islamic Development Bank was established in 1974 and is sponsored by countries that are members of the Organization of the Islamic Conference, even though the bank is primarily an intergovernmental bank that aims of providing funds for the for development projects in member countries. In the next slide, we can see that in Indonesia, the pioneer of Islamic bank is Bank Muamalat Indonesia. Established in 1991, this bank was initiated by the Indonesian Ulama Council or MUI and the government, as well as support from the Indonesian Muslim Intellectuals Association and several Muslim entrepreneurs. This bank was affected by the monetary crisis in the late 90s, so that its equity was only 1/3 in the initial capital. IDB then gave an injection of funds to this bank, and the 1999 until 2002 period, it was able to get up and generate profits. Currently, the existence of Islamic banks in Indonesia has been regulated in a law, namely Law Number 1 of 1998 concerning amendments to Law Number 7 of 1992 concerning banking. In the next slide, we can see there are 3 functions of Islamic bank. First function is fundraisers. Just like commercial bank, Islamic banks have the main function of collecting funds from the public. The difference is, if at a conventional bank, the saver gets a remuneration in the form of interest. In an Islamic bank, the saver will get a fraction in the form of a profit share. Second function is fund distributors. The second main function of Islamic banks is as a channel for funds. Funds that have been collected from customers will be later channeled back to other customers using a profit sharing system. And the last function is providing bank services. The third function of Islamic banks is as a provider of banking services. In this case, Islamic banks function as service providers such as transfer service, book transfers, cash withdrawal service, and other banking service.
The purpose of Islamic bank: first, directing activities to economic people to engage in Islamic manner, especially muamalah related to banking in order to avoid the practice of usury or other types of trading that contain grahar elements. Second, avoid bank money interest implemented by conventional bank. Third, maintain the economic or monetary stability of the government. Fourth, to save the dependence of Muslim on non-Muslim bank conventional, which causes Muslim to come under the control of the bank. 5. Educating and guiding people to think economically, behave business in improving their quality of life. 6. Avoiding all ignorance is holding money and leaving it idle and not rotating. 7. To help tackle the problem of poverty, which is generally the main program of developing countries. 8. To create justice in economic sector by distributing income through investment activities. 9. Conducting business and trading activities based on legal gain according to Islam. The next, the development of banking institution and a sound banking system based on efficiency and fairness will be able to increase public participation so as to encourage the economic efforts for many people, including expanding the network of banking financial institutions. The last, trying to prove that the concept of Islamic banking according to Islamic Sharia can operate, grow, to develop more than banks with the other system. Characteristic of Islamic bank: first, the agreed cost when the contract is issued in the form of a nominal amount which is flexible and negotiable within a reasonable limit. Second, using percentage in terms of the obligation to make payment is always avoided. Third, in a project finance contract, the bank does not provide a calculation based on the finite profit that is phase of advance. 4. Fund referral from the public is the form or deposit or saving are considered by depositors as deposit, while for bank they are considered as deposit that are made as statement and in project finance by the bank in accordance with Sharia principles, so that depositors of funds are not promised tangible rewards. 5. There is Sharia board, which has the task of conducting bank supervision from a Sharia perspective. 6. Islamic bank often use Arabic terms which are readily used in Islamic fiqh. 7. There is a special product, namely for social no-burden financing where customers are not obligated to return the financing. 8. There are restrictions or certain business activities of Islamic bank. 9. There are many types of Islamic bank business activities when compared to conventional bank. The last, in Islamic banking, the relationship between the bank and consumer is a contractual relationship between the investor who owns the fund and the investor who manage fund who work together productively and profit are shared fairly.
I'm Topit. I'm gonna to telling you about product service overhead of Islamic Bank. First, fund channeling products. In channeling fund to customers, Islamic financing products are divided into three categories, which are differentiated based on their intended use, namely financing transactions that are intended to own goods, then use the principle of buying and selling, and then financing transactions that are intended to obtain services, then use the lease principle. Let's move to the next slide. And the next product service offered by Islamic Bank is fundraising products. Pricing found in Islamic banking can take the form of demand deposits, saving, and time deposits. Sharia operational principles that are applied in collecting public funds are the Widhia and Mudarabah principle. Widhia principle. The application of the Widhia principle is Widhia Yadamamah, which is applied to current account products. It is different with the Widhia Amanah, where the party entrusted with the entrusted or bank is responsible for the integrity of the asset deposits so that he may take advantage of the asset. Where at Widhia, the trustworthiness of the entrusted assets should not be used by the entrusted person. Mudarabah principles. In the Mudarabah principle, depositor or depositor act as owners of capital while the bank act as manager. The safe funds are then used for financing. In this case, if the bank uses it for Mudarabah financing, the bank is obligated to be responsible if any losses might occur. And the next product service offered by Islamic Bank is financial service products. In addition to the bank being able to raise and distribute funds, the bank can also provide services to customers in exchange for a lease or profit. These banking services include: first, SARF, buying and selling foreign currency. In principle, buying and selling foreign currencies is in line with the SARF principle, namely buying and selling currencies that are not of the same type but must be done at the same time. Then, the bank takes advantage of this foreign exchange sale and purchase. The next, ijara or rent. This ijara activity is to rent out deposits, safe deposit boxes, and document administration management services, custodian. In this case, the bank gets a rental fee from the service. Okay, we move to the next topic. In this topic, we will talking about development of Islamic Bank in Indonesia. Familiar with Asian culture makes several activities in Indonesia adopt or use the same culture. This is then done in everyday life, such as financial institution or banking. It is called a Sharia financial institution or Sharia banking. As of June 2019, the number of Islamic bank in Indonesia is 189, consisting of 14 Islamic commercial banks, 20 Sharia business units, and 164 Sharia rural banks. This figure is likely to continue to grow. And then in 1983, the Indonesia government planned to implement a profit Sharia system in credit, which is a concept of Islamic bank. In 1990, the Indonesian Ulama Council or MUI also participated in realizing Islamic banking in Indonesia by forming a working group to establish an Islamic bank in Indonesia. This group was named the MUI banking team and was tasked with conducting approaches and consultation with all relevant parties. A year later, the first Islamic bank in Indonesia was established, namely Bank Muamalat Indonesia on 1 November 1991, and officially started operation on 1 May 1992. At the beginning of its operation, the national banking sector structure regarding Islamic bank was not optimal. In Law Number 7 of 1992, it was only in 1998 that the government and the DPR made improvement to the law into the Law Number 10 of 1998, which was clearly explained the banking system in Indonesia, namely conventional and Islamic banking systems. Based on the law, various other Islamic banks emerged, such as IV Bank, Sharia Mandiri Bank, Niaga Bank, PTN Bank, Mega Bank, BRI Bank, Bukopin Bank, Jabar BPD, and Aceh BPD, and the others. I think that's all for me. Thank you for your attention and see you.